We're going to wait for Natalie, the nanny buddy, to join us. Today we're talking about IVF. Let's see if she's coming to the live. Let's see. Hi, Coco Cross. Let's see. Is she coming? Oh, there she is. There she is. Let's go live with her.
Yay!
Finally.
She made it. So we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. All I can ask is for you to turn down your volume on the other device because I can hear myself back.
Is that better? Do you want me to turn it off completely?
No, just the volume, that's all. So I don't have to hear myself.
Okay, can you hear it now? Is that fine?
No, it's good.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
I don't want to hear my voice. So you guys know who I am. I'm Nanny Sharz, also known, well, I'm Shada Lambert, also known as Nanny Sharz. Today we're going to be talking about IVF, and I'm going to let my guest introduce who she is.
And I'm Natalie from Nanny Buddy.
Yay! So we wanted to just get straight into it. We hope you're all doing well. But as people are coming in, I'm just going to quickly write the topic down below. So when people are coming in, they can see what we are talking about. I'm just going to pin it. Let's see. Yep, there you go. Right.
Oh,
so
my friend Emma's just joined. Hi, Emma.
Oh, hi. Who's Emma? Who is that? Your friend?
Emma's a really good friend of mine, yeah.
Okay. Hi, Emma. So, yeah, first of all, I just want to say how proud I am of Natalie for agreeing to do this live with me, because this is a very personal topic that I think is going to help a lot of people. So I really appreciate you, agreeing to do this and putting yourself out there like this, because it's not easy. Hey, let's play and learn. So we wanted to just do a quick, in case you guys don't know what IVF, I've been on Google because I wanted to make sure it's the politically correct way of saying the definition of IVF. So IVF is described as a medical procedure whereby an egg is fertilized by a sperm in a test tube or elsewhere outside the body. That's what Google's given me as a definition. And it also says that during IVF, mature eggs are collected or retrieved from ovaries and fertilized by sperm in a lab. The eggs that are fertilized are then transferred to the uterus. So would you agree with that definition of IVF?
I definitely would agree with that. Whether it happens seamlessly like that is another story.
Yeah. So let's talk about you then. Talk us through the beginning up to where you are now.
So I think our fertility journey started. So first of all, let me just say that my boyfriend and I are about to leave for France on Saturday to start our second round of IVF. And this is why we, Shada and I, wanted to talk about this tonight, because, I think that this is a subject that's not really discussed within our industry. You don't often hear many childcare workers talking about their experiences. And, this is something that I'm now going through. I'm experiencing it firsthand. And I want to share my experiences with you because, when you Google things, which I'm sure we'll talk about in more depth, you don't always find something you can relate to. So I'm hoping that by sharing my experience, people can find, a positive spin on the whole IVF journey, because it's not all that bad. And this is why I am sharing my journey with you guys tonight. So we leave on Saturday for France for our second round of IVF, which is really, really exciting. But yeah, so sorry, I can go on. So
all right, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you so much, my love. No, so it started, we knew roughly in August 2019 that we were going to need some extra help in that department. And at the time, we weren't 100% sure what route we were going to take, because this is another thing with IVF. Sometimes, or just with the fertility journey in general, sometimes you can start off thinking that you're going to go one way, and actually you end up going another complete route. So they're never really, for us anyway, that's how it worked. So we started off in October 2019, and there was about, honestly, I can't explain, about 6 months of paperwork and blood tests and chromosome tests, and you name it, we did it. And just when you think that you're about to finish the blood tests and all the paperwork, there's more to come. So the first part of our journey was mainly paperwork. So that's definitely, I want to talk maybe more towards the end about my advice, but yeah, there is a lot of paperwork involved.
What is the paperwork? Could you let people know what you have to do?
God, thinking back. So the paperwork is just lots of hospital forms. You have to get so many different injections, blood tests, chromosome tests. So it's basically all your results and that kind of thing. It's really hard. It's really difficult to explain, but it's just a lot of hospital documents. And everything that you do go through, you have to keep a track of, so that if you're seeing another doctor, that doctor has then seen what tests you've had done. So you have to keep it all in a file. And the file by the end gets quite big, because every examination you have, you keep a record of it. So it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And so that's really fun. And especially if you've kind of never done, of course, when you're going into this, you've never done something like this before. And if you've got no friends to kind of offer advice, it's really, it's a process, that's for sure. And it's an interesting process. So after we'd got all our tests done and we were fine to go through, so there's a certain amount of tests you have to have done before you can. So like the chromosome test, for example, everything has to be right or perfect. And if it's not, it can cause issues further down the line. So luckily we were fine, and all the tests that we did have, everything was fine, all the blood work, etc., etc. So after completing everything in February, we thought, hey, you know what, we're good to go. We've finally crossed that bridge. We've got all the paperwork in, we've done all the blood tests, we've done everything that needs to be done. We are on our way, and it felt really exciting. And then obviously in March, coronavirus seemed to pop its ugly head. And sorry, let me tell a cup of tea.
That's all right.
And and then obviously things changed quite dramatically, because we were on a lockdown. No one knew what was going on. It was a really scary and unsettling time on a global level, you know. And when we decided, so we, for reasons which I won't go into too much depth, we decided to do our IVF in France, because in England you can only do IVF on the NHS with there's a certain amount of rules. And for one, I'm over 35, so you can't be over 35. And for our issues, we weren't able to do what we needed to do via the NHS. So NHS for us was ruled out, because it wasn't simple for us. I can't go into too much detail, but it wasn't a simple procedure. So for us, the NHS option was out completely. And then our second option was to go privately within the UK. And I don't know, for anyone who's listening, private IVF in the UK is absolutely crazy expensive. Like, it is so expensive, it is ridiculous. I don't know how anyone on just a normal budget could afford to do that, honestly, unless they get a loan, or I honestly, I don't know. But for us, it wasn't feasible, especially if you have to do more than one round. I mean, I just don't know how people who don't have a lot of money go about that? I mean, I suppose they'd have to take out a loan or something like that, but it must be very difficult. But and for us, we were very fortunate that we did have the option of going to France. So, you know, that's what we decided to do in the end, and we've been really, really lucky. The doctors have been amazing, and because Philippe and I are PACS, which is we're legally bound, so basically married, we are able to do everything over there, and it's and we're still private over there, but it's a fraction of the cost of what we pay here. Like when I say a fraction,
Definitely.
it is a fraction. You
Yeah.
would be shocked at the difference, but England is like up here and France is down here, but because they pay higher taxes over there and they pay higher taxes, and then luckily the care that they do receive is fantastic and it's a lot less expensive. So
the normally here in the UK, like it can start from like 9K, and the same in America as well, because I've worked for IVF parents, and I had a parent that had 9 rounds of IVF, and she spent over $250,000
that is
on the whole thing.
absolutely
Mad.
unbelievable. And it's not just, you know what, with IVF, it's not just the expenses, it's the emotional expense as well, on top of it's kind of just everything on top of everything with IVF. And this is the thing, when you're going into it, for all women, you know, this is from my experience, if you're going into it, you don't know what to expect, okay, the first round, especially if you don't have any friends who have gone through it. So I want to go, your only hope is to go on Google. So you Google, and you Google till you can't Google anymore. And I'm not even kidding you. I mean, I know that's what I did. I was Googling at 2 a.m. I was researching every drug I was taking, which obviously I think most people do, but I was researching it till it was blue in the face. And the blogs and the articles and things that I came across, they were mainly 95% negative. Women who have had awful experiences. Now, I am not putting that down or anything, because some women, it is very difficult for them, and I completely feel for them. I really, really do. But to try and find, this is why I wanted again to talk, because actually my experience wasn't that negative and it wasn't that bad. And I want to say to anyone who's about to go through it, it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be as hard as a lot of people make it out to be, you know, especially on the physical side, because I think a lot of people, when going into IVF, their main worry is the needles. That is everyone's main worry. Will the needles hurt? Is it uncomfortable? Do you get bruising? And you see a lot of celebrities. I've noticed this actually, a lot of celebrities who are very open about their IVF, posting their bruises, their scars, and actually, I don't feel that that's everyone's experiences, and it's giving IVF a really negative kind of
like connotation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Association,
But for me, actually, IVF is a step forward in the right direction, and it's definitely, I mean, 100% not the choice I would have chosen if I had an option. But it's giving me hope that a child is possible for me. And you know, it's not, so I don't want to portray it as something negative, because actually it can be very beautiful, and it's full of hope, really, IVF, you know? And I think you do. This is what the word that surrounds it. You have to be hopeful, and you have to wish for the best at all times, even though that might not necessarily be the outcome. But so it's so. Do you want to go back to COVID? So
I was going to ask you, how did you find? Because going through IVF sounds very stressful. So how did you find that COVID affected the normal procedure of going through it? Like, is it normally really straightforward, and then COVID? How did COVID affect that?
So for us, we finished all our paperwork and all the blood work and everything to say that we were fine to move forward in February. So our next round of appointments was meant to be in April, and obviously that was cancelled. So at the time when COVID first came in, we